Jane, amazing to have you with us. Could you start off maybe just by telling me a little bit about CeeD, what you do at CeeD, and the project that you posted with UDrafter?
So CeeD is a peer-to-peer membership organisation for the engineering and manufacturing community. We're kind of a bit like a problem-solving network. So we help companies through the very real challenges they face, from things like plant maintenance, lean manufacturing techniques, to energy, waste, health and safety, people development, and more. And last year, we were awarded the contract to manage the Advancing Manufacturing Cluster Builder programme by Scottish Enterprise on behalf of the Scottish Government and Highlands and Islands Enterprise. This programme provides free support, advice and consultancy to the engineering and manufacturing sector, and that includes access to specialist manufacturing equipment through a number of advancing manufacturing projects. So I joined CeeD as the marketing manager, and as a mouthful, isn't it? I joined CeeD as the marketing manager primarily to support this programme. And earlier this year, we had a need to find a resource that could support me on the project, primarily looking at some data analysis and reporting side of the project,
Sure.
But hopefully with a view to doing a little bit more marketing support as well.
Great, that's really good. And what was the project that you posted with UDrafter?
So the project was exactly that. It was really help with kind of a bit of data analysis and pulling together some of the reporting requirements that we need to do for the project. So requiring quite good sort of, I suppose, data analysis skills and being able to use spreadsheets for that as well. So that was the main part, was on the reporting side. But because I am the only person doing marketing at CeeD, then we were hoping that this person, in addition, we would be able to find a person that could additionally help on support some of the marketing activities that I don't always get time to do.
Great, and that's actually a really good segue into my next question. Before CeeD hired an intern, what were the challenges that you were facing as a business?
I think it was time pressures, really. We're a very small team at CeeD, but we're very, very busy. And I think our workload has increased actually over the last year, so it's great. So we've all been really, really busy. So I'd say really it was just having enough hours in the day to do what we needed to do. So that was the need to kind of look for some support that could help us, particularly on this project initially, to kind of get some of the things I was doing and give me a bit of help with that.
Absolutely. And was there like a moment that you're just like, I need to outsource this work, or was it more sort of a gradual build up of things?
I think it was a bit of both. I think it was a kind of a gradual build up, and with the MD, we had a conversation. Thought, you know what, I think we need to bring in some extra help, and the idea was to do that on a short-term basis initially, just to see, because sometimes you're not sure how much work you're actually going to be able to give someone, because I think you might find that you think you've got a lot of work to give somebody and it might not be enough. So what we didn't want to do was bring somebody on and not have enough for them to do, which is rarely the case, to be honest with you. But we didn't want to kind of offer something that we couldn't then deliver. So it was important that it would work for both the person that we might take on and for the project and what we would need, and for us as well.
Absolutely. And had you outsourced work before?
In previous roles, I have more using the traditional kind of recruitment agency approach, I suppose, and that was generally to fill maybe maternity cover positions or maybe a period of illness for a member of the team. So yes, not so much on a sort of short-term contract basis personally.
Sure. And how did those, you said you sort of used traditional channels and agencies and stuff in the past. Mm-hmm. How did that experience compare to what you experienced on UDrafter?
I suppose there was a speed element to it. I think the very fact that it was online, it was certainly quite a different way of doing it. But I did find the process quite easy once I understood it. I think when you're used to, you put out a job advert, you want people to apply, and then you go through it was kind of quite different that you put out the job and then people posted on it immediately. So I think there was definitely, it was quicker. So you could actually look, quite quickly through candidates and see, who might fit the bill, rather than having to kind of do the kind of 2 week, allowing 1 or 2 weeks for someone to come back traditionally with a deadline. So that, I think that was quite good, actually. That worked really well. And I think being able to review the candidates through that way was a good way of doing it. Yeah.
Sure. And what drew you towards the freelance or intern route rather than looking for someone full time from the beginning? I know your particular situation grew into a full time role, but what was the sort of attraction to do the freelance first, then potentially look at full time later on?
I think it was a combination of what we'd be able to offer somebody on a full-time basis. I think we just wanted to, I think there's a bit of learning as well. I think it's almost as you might want to take somebody on and you're still defining what that might be. It meant that we could take somebody on a short-term basis to fulfill some specific activities in a project, while having an eye for actually we might want something more definite, more longer term, which I think sometimes can help you shape what that is, as well as I think it also gives you a chance to kind of see if the candidate that you've got is the right person, I suppose, for the role as well. I mean, we weren't doing it for that reason, but there's maybe an added advantage of that too.
Sure. And you sort of briefly touched on it in one of your previous answers. How did you find the virtual recruitment process? And I'll come on to the next part of that question. We'll maybe go with that one first. Yeah, how did you find that overall?
So actually, I found it fine because at CeeD we run a lot of events, and they're in the virtual environment. I actually joined CeeD in the virtual environment, so I've only ever met my team members virtually.
Of course, yeah.
And we have a lot of contact throughout the day, throughout the week. So I think so in terms of the virtual, just the recruitment side of things. So the recruitment side of things, I was quite comfortable with it. I'm not sure, but bearing in mind that the candidates might not be, so I think we tried to make sure they were at ease and allow for, any distractions that might happen. So actually, for example, there was certainly in the one we did, one of the ones we did, there were certainly cats, dogs, and other people on phone during the kind of interview side of thing. But that was absolutely fine because you have to accept that we are in a. But ordinarily, I think people would be kind of quite, oh my goodness, that's. But these kind of things really are just fine and actually quite amusing, to be honest. Things just happen during the virtual way that actually just that's life, and we just have to accept that now. So
yeah, that's absolutely it. That's a really interesting answer. And what, in terms of what you're looking for from the individuals, would you say that's based on, for this project in particular, was it based sort of on cultural fit or was it skills focused? What were you looking for?
I'd say it was a bit of both. We certainly wanted somebody who had specific skills and experience, more so they could pick up and take on the project quite quickly. I mean, absolutely would want to and have want to support a candidate and help and work with them, but that maybe is a little bit harder in the virtual environment. So I think having some skills, some experience that we were looking for, I think was useful. So that helped in who we chose for the particular project. But I do think culture fit is important as well. I think particularly when you are a small organisation, it's important that you think that that person will get on with the various members in the team and would work well together. So I'd say a bit of both.
Great. And bringing it back to your project, what were your expectations going into it? And did your expectations change throughout the life cycle of the project? I know it's sort of still ongoing at the moment.
Yeah. I think for us, the expectations of the project were that this person would pick up and understand the program. There is quite a bit of getting your head around it. It is a little bit complex in the beginning because there's lots of elements to it and lots of partners involved. So it was important that they would ideally, hopefully, pick that up and grasp that quite quickly, which indeed the candidate did. And to understand the kind of all the various elements that we would need to fulfill the project. And again, that was there. And thinking about, workload and what you might give someone to do, the scope of the project. There were some key things, the kind of reporting and admin side of things that were really important. And what I was kind of hoping is that there would be it wouldn't take up all of the time, and there would be an opportunity to do some of the marketing side of things as well that I wanted support with, and I think that has worked well. So I think that means that there's some other elements to this project which are more on a marketing, which is good for the marketing candidate anyway, that they were able to do that and have variety in the role. I think it's important that, I think if somebody was just working on effectively, spreadsheets all day, I think that would drive them nuts, quite frankly. So I think it was important that at the outset, even though this particular person enjoys doing that, I think it was important to have a variety. I like that in my role, and I think it's important that they have a number of things to work on. So when you've had enough of one thing, you think, or need a break from it, you can go and do something else. So I've tried to give them a variety of things to do, and things that will obviously help them grow and develop as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And how has the intern on your project, how has that impacted your day-to-day work schedule?
It's been great, to be honest. It's been a great support, because there are some things I can actually delegate to someone to do. So I'm not trying to manage and do everything at the same time. So it's been a great support, actually. So it's helped us actually get through some things that some things we weren't getting a chance to get to quickly enough. So yeah, it's been really good support.
Fantastic. And final sort of 2 questions. With a topic that's quite interesting at the moment, there's a lot of students out there maybe not have experienced the workplace. How has this particular intern, how has their integration been within your team?
I think it's been great, to be honest. I mean, one of the things I think it's important you make somebody feel part of a team as well. So I was keen that I didn't just leave this person just to get on with something and speak to them, once a week or something like that. So I, from the outset, wanted to make sure they were involved and part of the team. So I speak to, I've arranged like daily calls, beginning of the day, end of the day. So I think that's quite a good thing to do, to see how things going, what happened yesterday, and a roundup at the end of the day, as well as contact throughout the day. So that's even just using Teams chat, just how are you going, how are things doing? And I think that's really important, particularly in this virtual environment when somebody's working at home. It can be quite lonely for people, so I think it's important, and we could have felt a bit disconnected to the organization. So hopefully you've managed to ensure that they felt part of the team, and I think that has worked pretty well.
And final sort of question here, to other business owners or managers that are out there who might be unsure about hiring an intern, or if they need one in the first place, what advice could you give them?
I would say that they should definitely consider it. I think there are a whole lot of excellent candidates out there. I mean, certainly the ones that had expressed an interest in this project with you, Drafter. There were some fantastic people on there with different skills and abilities, and some with some experience, some with not so much experience and looking to get experience. And I kind of was wishing we were a bigger organization and able to offer more of them positions, because we've all been students, and we've been in that situation ourselves. So I can understand how hard it must be at the moment to get the right sort of role that they've actually done the degree in, to get experience in. So I do think it's really important. I would definitely say consider it. It can be a real benefit to your organisation. So a project basis is probably not a bad way of going, to give, you're helping somebody get on in their career as well as gaining something in your organisation. I mean, for example, I did a marketing degree many years ago. So by taking on an intern who's a more recent graduate, there's things, particularly on the digital side, that they will have learned and probably can teach me a thing or two. So I think it's really important to, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's a good idea.